Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today as we do a DIY poinsettia craft made out of something you probably have at home, toilet paper tubes. So if you've made it over to the library and picked up a kit, I'm going to go over what you should have received. In your kit, you should have gotten an instruction sheet, a toilet paper tube, a pipe cleaner. You should have gotten a cup like this of both red and green paint. And you should have gotten a couple little yellow beads in your bag. So the things that you're going to need from home to complete this craft will be a paintbrush. You'll also need preferably a hot glue gun, but if you have Aleene's tacky glue or some sort of heavier type of glue, you'll need that. And if you're going to use regular glue, you're going to want to have a clothespin with you. And lastly, you'll need some scissors. So let's get started. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab your toilet paper tube. And what you're going to do is just kind of flatten it out a little bit so that it kind of looks like this. It's not so round. And then what you're going to begin doing is you'll grab your scissors and you're going to want to start to cut little circles such as this out of your toilet paper tube. So you want to just go down the tube cutting as many as you'd like. You'll need at least 5 of them. I would suggest don't make them super thick and don't make them incredibly thin either. If it helps, you can always get a ruler. If you want to be very precise, you can get a ruler and make little ticker marks so that you cut each one and they will be exactly the same. I just freehand it. So I go on ahead and I cut some more of these. So once you have them all cut, you have a couple of them cut out of your toilet paper tube, what you're going to want to do is you're going to grab your red paint. First thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to take your little cut petal and you're going to take your paint on your paintbrush. And what you'll do is you will begin painting it. So the easiest way to paint this, and also the least messy method, would be to first paint some red paint here on the outside. And also, if you can see here on the inside of the exact same side. So if you're doing the top, you want to paint in here along the inside of the top. Put them down, let them dry. Once they dry, go on ahead and turn them over and repeat the process by painting the outside of it red as well as the inside. You may want to reserve at least 2 of them, if you have enough, to be petals for your poinsettia. You'll want to make little leaf petals, and that's why you've gotten some green paint. So what you'll do with those is same process, paint the outside green, and then paint the insides green. Once all of your little tube pieces are dry with paint, what you're going to do is you're going to go on ahead and arrange them in the shape of a poinsettia. For mine that I'm going to show you, I used 6 petals. You can definitely use 5. At least 5 is recommended, but if you feel like you'd like to put an extra 1 or 2 and you can fit them in there, by all means go on ahead. Like I said, be sure to leave at least 1 or 2 of your little petals to use as leaves for your poinsettia. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, I'm going to tell you how to do it with the hot glue because that's what I used. I think that it glues better and it glues quicker and stronger. So what you'll do is you would get 2 of these petals and you'll bend them down just a little bit, again, kind of flatten them. And then once they're flat, what you'll do is you'll place some hot glue just right here about the first top quarter of one of the petals. And then you're going to go on ahead and glue the other one to it. So they should look like this, and I'll show you them where they're painted. So this would be, kind of hold it like this so you can see. This would be the outcome. You see how they're glued together. And then what you would do is you would get some of your other petals and do the same thing. You'd put a little bit of hot glue here, glue another petal, and so forth until it's round like a flower. If you don't have hot glue and you're using Elmer's glue or some other sort of tacky glue at home, I'll give you the idea how to do it with that. Same thing, you'll go on ahead and take glue and put it here on the bottom quarter of your petal. Put the other one together, and here's where the little pinchy clothespin would come in handy that I said you would maybe want to have handy, is once you put that tacky glue on, because it takes a little bit longer to dry, you would just pinch your clothespin here to hold it. You can also try doing a paper clip. Sometimes the paper clip grabs the ends of the cardboard and kind of frays it. So it's up to you. If that's all that you have available, you can use that in a pinch. But if you do have handy a clothespin, the little spring type, I would go on ahead and pinch that there. And then you would put all your petals on and put your clothespins to hold them so that the glue adheres and gets a strong bond. It will take a little bit longer, of course, for any regular Elmer's glue or any kind of tacky glue to dry. So if you're doing it with a hot glue gun, you can make these in a matter of minutes. If you're doing it the other way with regular glue, it may take a little bit longer. But as long as you sit it out, it shouldn't take too long. And make sure that you don't put a whole lot of glue. If you cake on the glue, it's going to take really long for it to dry. You want to put enough that it gets a good bond to the other little petal, but not so much that it's just coming, like oozing out of the sides. It just will take really, really long. You don't need that much for it to adhere well. So once your items are all glued together and you have a complete flower, you can go on ahead and take one of these in green if you've made one. And I'm going to show you my completed one. And I'm going to give you another idea. If you happen to have green or the snowflake kind of glitter or red glitter at home, sometimes people have that hanging around. If you want to make it fancier, I would go on ahead and glitter it. If you look at mine, you can see that what I did was I was wanting to show you where you would put the little leaves kind of in between your flower. And I'll kind of hold my hand here so you can see it a little bit better. But what I did was I just took my little handy paintbrush like this, and I just kind of put a little bit of Elmer's glue along the edges here and here, a little bit along the insides, and I sprinkled red glitter and on the flower portion of it, and then I also did green glitter on the leaves just to make it a little sparklier. I love anything glittery and sparkly, and honestly, it looks a little bit more attractive when it's sitting on your tree and it has the glitter, because the lights from your Christmas tree kind of bounce off of it, and it just is really cute and pretty and shiny. So I did that. If you do that, make sure that you put the glitter on after you've glued it. Some instructions will tell you to do it beforehand. To me, it gets a little bit messy because a lot of times the glitter will start coming off and you'll just have a big glitter mess. So you're better off gluing everything together like this, and then go back and just put glitter where you want it to be. And I didn't cover all the parts. I don't know if you can see this, but if you see the insides of them, you can see that I don't have glitter inside the petals, only on the portions like this that you would see sparkling on the tree. It doesn't make sense to cover it all in glitter, but it really gives a nice touch to it. And then lastly, what you'll do with either your glue gun or with the other type of glue that you may be using at home is take your little beads or sequins that you were given and glue them here in the middle to make a little middle to your flower, to your poinsettia. Once that has all dried, your glitter's dry, your little center is dry, what you'll want to do lastly is to take the pipe cleaner and just kind of curve it. And what I did was, on one that I have already at home, is I just kind of glued the pipe cleaner. I'm going to show you right now. I glued it to the petals so that it would be like this. And then that makes a hanger for it on your tree. You don't want a little tiny hanger. Of course, you could use that if that's your preference. But I found that putting the pipe cleaner, I can kind of arrange it on the tree better. I can get it into the branches better so that it hangs right along the lights. Once you've done that and you've made your little hanger on your poinsettia, your craft is complete. It'll look really wonderful put on your tree. If you have a lot of toilet paper rolls at home, another idea that you can do is to continue what you started and make a few of these. A lot of people make wreaths, and what they do is they just make maybe about 8 poinsettias, and they make some accompanying leaves. And then what you would do is here you would just glue another flower and some more leaves, and you would just kind of go around in a circle. Sometimes they kind of go around a plate. So if you're holding it like this to kind of give you an idea how to make the shape of a wreath, you can go on ahead and do that as well. They're very pretty, of course, with glitter. They're really sparkly, but they're just as gorgeous even without it, just with the paint and as your tree as your background. They look really good, and they're really inexpensive. You can even make them as gifts. I know when people come to my house, they see the ones that I've made and put on my tree, and I've had people think that I purchased them somewhere, and so they were really surprised that I made it. Some people didn't even realize that they were toilet paper tubes that actually made the craft. So that kind of goes to show you that sometimes something that's really nice and homemade can really look like something that you bought in a store. And like I said, if you make them as little gifts to give to family members that you know love ornaments, I love ornaments. So I have no problem if anybody gives me a gift of an ornament, but I enjoy making my own. It's a little craft to do with family or just something to occupy my time. And it makes my tree unique because I have things on it that are handmade that I couldn't buy in a store. And honestly, just to pass your time, you could even, if you had a magnet at home, you could hot glue a magnet to the back and then put it on your refrigerator. If you just put string on it, you could hang it somewhere else, like in a window, or if you want to put it on a little display that you might have. Let's say if you have a nativity scene or something on a mantle, you could easily make a number of these and just kind of put them inside some garland. Definitely indoors. I wouldn't put anything on a wreath outside, because if it does get wet from snow, or in our case, rain, because we haven't gotten any snow yet, it probably won't hold up. I couldn't tell you if you could put any kind of like a polyacrylic to seal it. But honestly, they're so delicate. I wouldn't even think of putting them on something outside. I would definitely use them for decoration indoors, anywhere around the house, whether I constructed them in a wreath, put them on my Christmas tree, or inserted them in some garland that I might have sitting around on a mantle or somewhere else in my house. So I thank you so much for joining me for this very simple craft. Before I leave you and wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, I do want to let you know a little spin on this craft. If you are not interested in poinsettias, or you've made enough and now you want to try something else, if you look on YouTube, you can find some videos where you can even paint them to look like snowflakes. Pretty much same idea. You can also bend the toilet paper tubes to different shapes. I'm going to just show you really quick. If you took one of these and you flattened it out, and let's say you fold it in half. So now it's like this. I hope you all can see that. Another variation would be that then you would take this folded piece and you would insert it inside one of your petals, like so. And if you see that, if that was painted red and glittered, it would add more dimension to your poinsettia. If you're doing the snowflake version of this poinsettia, if you get excited and want to make more, of course you wouldn't put petals on it if it's a snowflake, but you could easily do these kinds of little shapes in here that would make it look more like a snowflake. And then you could paint it like a light turquoise, or you could paint it white with some cute glitter, like iridescent glitter. You could even paint it light blue if you'd like. So that's another little variation of this same toilet paper roll craft that you could make, that you could hang on your tree or in your house to decorate and be festive for the holiday season. So thank you again for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed this simple craft and that you continue making some to decorate your house and make everything very festive in your home. Again, Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year here from the library. I hope that it's safe and healthy for each and every one of you. And we hope to be seeing you in the new year for new programs, and that you'll be joining us again, hopefully in person soon. We miss all of you, and we hope to see you in the library as soon as it's safe to do so. Be sure to check out our other videos on our YouTube page for crafts and story time and so much more. Sign up to follow us so that you get notifications when new programs are going to be posted. And again, have a safe and happy holiday, and we'll see you in the new year.